This video is kind of a rundown checklist of all of the things that you're going to need for color theory. First thing you're probably going to need to get is a copy of this book, which is the Color Workbook by Becky Koenig. There are two. I've got the fourth edition and I've got the third edition. I don't really care which one you get. You can probably get the third edition a lot cheaper than the fourth edition. Either one will do. The text is essentially the same. She hasn't really changed all that much, or the publisher, I should say, hasn't changed all that much. I have a checklist off to the side here that I'm going to keep referencing. You're going to need to probably get yourself a mechanical pencil like this. I like these rather than the ones that take the little leads, because this lead doesn't break near so easy. And you can get different kinds of leads, like you can get 2H, you can get all of the HBs, the Bs, and the Hs, and you can also get colored leads like non-photo blue, which works really well. And you can get one of these sharpeners, and you can always keep it sharp. It's a lot better than a pencil sharpener, and it also has the added advantage that when you're not using it, you can put the lead up inside like that, and you won't be breaking the point all the time. Let's see what else we got here. I got the sharpener. You want to get yourself some fine line markers. Make sure you get a lot of black ones. This set only had just one, but make sure you get a number of real good fine line. Pentel makes really good ones. And you're also going to want to need to get some Sharpies. They come in handy for any variety of things. Glue stick for working on at least the first two projects for sure. You're going to need a glue stick for that. Let's see what else. An X-Acto knife, and get some replacement blades for it. You're going to need to get your RGB paints, or what I refer to as the RGB paints. That would be cadmium yellow medium, ultramarine blue, and cadmium red medium. You don't need to get this brand necessarily, but if you happen to get to Michael's sells golden, and then you don't have to buy tubes anywhere this big either. So that's the RGB paints. You're going to need to get the CMYK paints. That's primary yellow, primary cyan, and primary magenta. Again, Golden makes those. I can swear by them. That's the ones that I use in my demonstrations. And you're going to get a tube of Mars Black and Titanium White. Let's see, what else have I got here? Brushes. You're going to need to get a couple of brushes. I like the broad, flat brushes like these. They work best. Tend to make less streaks on your boards. And let's see what else we got. Oh, the illustration board. You're going to need to get several sheets of this. These I bought at 9 by 12s. You can get them 20 by 30s and 30s by 40s and cut them down. You're going to cut them down to 8.5 by 10.5. And that will be so that they can fit inside of the sleeves. I'll get to that in just a second. You can also get a pad or a thing of poster board or cardstock, and you'll be cutting that down to 8.5 by 10.5 as well. The reason for that is you're also going to need to be getting yourself a 3-ring binder like this, because you're going to be keeping all of the projects inside of that as you get them completed. And the reason for that 8.5 by 10.5 inch document is so that it will fit inside of these plastic sleeves. So make sure you get some plastic sleeves. You guys are going to be working at home. It's not necessary that you be carting things back and forth to a classroom, but this just kind of keeps everything in one nice place. So I think I've got everything on the list. One of the other things you might want to pick yourself up is one of these sacrificial surfaces device for cutting on. You can get them larger and smaller than this. It helps you from not damaging your dining room table. You're probably also going to need to get a kneaded eraser. These come in really handy for cleaning stuff up. Scale rule or a metal ruler to measure things with. A compass. This one I got was kind of like a real inexpensive school compass. The thing I don't like about it so much is that when you're drawing with it, sometimes the the axes changes on you. For that reason, I also use this big old carpenter's compass, which I got from Menards. This one has a little screw thing on it that keeps you from having that arm move in and out on you. And I'm trying to think of anything else that you might. You'll also probably want to be getting yourself some masking tape. As I said in one of the demonstrations, I use one for delicate surfaces, and of course when you're applying it to your illustration boards, when you're doing the color wheels and whatnot, if you take a piece and do this with it on your shirt and kind of get it linted up before you stick it down, it'll have a hell of a lot less tendency to want to pull the surface of your board up. About the only other thing that I can think of here would be if you can pick yourself up one of these. This is a fired enamel aluminum butcher's tray, which comes in really handy for mixing your paints on. You can use disposable plates just as well, but the nice thing about it is if you forget and you leave your acrylic paint on this overnight and it dries on it, all you have to do is like soak it in water and it floats right off. So the other thing that I always recommend my students to get would be a toolbox. You don't have to get one anywhere near this big. It's really good so that you keep all of your drawing supplies and everything in one spot. I also have a much smaller version here, so you can take your pick on what kinds of things that you want to use there. But that pretty much takes care of most of the supplies that I can think of that you will need for the color theory class. We'll be doing an awful lot of handwork for the first half of the semester up until about midterm. Then after that we'll be switching to the computer, at which point you're definitely going to need to have the Creative Suite, at least Photoshop, Illustrator, and probably InDesign. Anyway, that's pretty much the extent of the supplies for color theory. I thought I'd better put this up so that you guys could have a little bit of advance notice about what kinds of things that you want to get. I do know that I have requested that the bookstore put together a kit for the students that are taking my class, so you might want to check with the MCC bookstore and find out if they've got kits for you, in which case it contains darn near 90-95% of the stuff that I've gone over here, in which case you wouldn't have to run out to some store and try to find it yourself and or get it online. Okay? That's it. I will see you in the next video.